Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Chapter 3 of A Boy Called Arsenal. Becoming Arsenal Whittock. During these formative years at school, when Arsenal Whittock was slowly but surely creating an identity for himself, his life continued at peace outside of school as well. The meaning of life to him was still a red-bodied shirt with white sleeves, but this position drove him to exceed in spite of his natural failings. He lived in Liverpool. He was a child. He had no money. He had chosen to support a football team that was especially for a kid a long way away to accept from 150 Street Croft in Liverpool to Highbury, the then home of Arsenal football team. It was and still is 191 miles, a bit of a journey on a push bike. So now interview with Arsenal and Alan. Alan, how did you raise money to go to the games? Arsenal. In school in the morning before school, I used to help the milkman. Giggity. And then after school I had a paper round and used to deliver the Liverpool Echo. We get that down here, it's called the Bournemouth Echo. Then on Saturday morning I used to help at Scott's Bakery. Then had a van that delivered cakes and bread and such. I do that after the milkman again, giggity. In the afternoon I worked from the Alpine Man. Makes no sense. Used to deliver pop and lemonade. Oh, I see what it means. Then after that, at 5 p.m, I used to wait for the football the Pink Echo on a Saturday night to be printed, and I deliver that. Then on Sunday morning, I would deliver the paper. Then play football on the Sunday morning after the paper round. Then Sunday afternoon, I had a Walls ice cream round that was like a freezer on wheels. Used to knock on doors and sell ice cream. Once a month, I would get all of my money and go to Highbury. I used to go to work for it, and that's how I done it. Alan, how did you get to Highbury, as there wouldn't have been many coaches going from Liverpool down to Highbury? Arsenal. Used to get the train from Liverpool Lime Street to Euston. Then from Euston, used to get the underground to Finsbury Park from Victoria and then walk to the ground. Alan. And who did you go with? Arsenal. No one. Used to go alone. Alan. And how old were you then? Arsenal. First game I ever went to was 1976, last game of the season, when Man U away, so must have been 14 or 15 when I started going, when I researched this game. It was 14th of May 1977, the last game of the 1976-77 season. Old Division 1 season, Arsenal was in fact 15 years old. That was my first game, and I started going regularly the following season. I just used to love it. I got the coach up there from Liverpool, and the coach stopped outside Lou Morris Chippy right next to Old Trafford, because it was my first game ever. I got there at 10 o'clock in the morning. In those days, the coach was allowed right up to the ground, but after the game, because of the traffic, the coach had to go somewhere else to get picked up. But I didn't know that. I was stood on the opposite side of the road, and there were loads of people coming out. And because of that, I was small, I couldn't get away. I think I ended up in Salford, I believe. Because of those thousands of people were marching along, I just got carried along with them. The police had to ring me mum and dad. Do you have a son called Arsenal? He's missed his coach and can't get home. I believe me dad was annoyed for some reason, and then he just put the phone down on him. The police took me to Manchester Piccadilly, and they put me on a train to Liverpool Lime Street, and that's how I got home. So I went to my first game, and I got lost. Sorry for that janky edit there. I had a bit. I'm come down with a cold, so that's why I sound a bit worse than I normally do. There might be a few edits here and there where I suddenly pause and it picks up later on. Alan, I know I shouldn't ask this, but what was the score? Arsenal. We got beat 3-2. I went to the Stratford end. They were sat back then. I was amazed they were seated, and I sat in the seats. Then I was addicted. Back then, you used to pay on the gate, so you could just turn up and pay. Brighton Wolves, Coventry Man U, Man City Man U, Oldham, 2 Sheffield grounds. I used to go to all of them away games. Now, it used to be the same in Bournemouth, to AFC Bournemouth, the Cherries. It used to be the same like that, because I can remember going to a couple of games where you would pay on the gate, but now you need to buy the tickets in advance. Right, you need so many points. Just Google it and you'll see. If you're English, you'll know, because Bournemouth in the Premier League. But yeah, Alan. And now you say addicted, but at that age, you obviously never considered it to be an addiction. Arsenal? No. It was when Alderney Hospital spoke to me mum and dad when I was being diagnosed years later, and me mum put in the report that I was addicted to football. It was indeed years later that the word addicted was first used to describe Arsenal's love of football, but it was during these years, from the age of 9 and the 1971 Cup final at the age of 16, when he left home for the first time, that Master Flynn became Arsenal Whittock. In one conversation I had with him, he actually said all I ever wanted to be was Arsenal Whittock. You can tell these aren't edited, can't you? Well, when I say edited, I mean I paused the video just to clear my throat and have a drink. Unless you want to hear that. Unless you want to hear me take a drink of Coca-Cola, anyone wondering. Where was I? The memory that Arsenal has retained all revolves around either football or family events. He remembers the whole family jumping on the couch and going to Southport for the day. The closest Arsenal ever got to a family holiday. This was a big day out to the seaside town of Southport. I've never been to Southport, even though I live in England, and I've been to Menorca and Tenerife. Never been to Newport. First I've been away from home. First I've been away from Bournemouth is Wolverhampton, actually in Britain. One of Southport's most celebrated sites is Lord Street, a Victorian something or other, edged in gardens with a charpin, unique style all of its own. Lord Street has been a favourite shopping destination for over a century. This is where the Liverpool coaches dropped its eager day trippers off. There must be something about Arsenal and coaches because once again he didn't remember the brightly coloured horses bobbling up and down on the carousel, nor does he remember the dodgem cars, Big Dipper, slides, or paddling in the sea on the beach. I didn't even know Southport was a seaside town. I could have guessed, but it's just me. What he remembers is being waved to by all the kids on the back seat of the coach and waving back as it pulled out or onto Lord Street and waned its way back to Liverpool at the end of the day. His autism wouldn't let him work out of that. He should be waving to them, but actually he be sat next to them. It was only as the coach departed out of sight up Lord Street that he would wondered how he was going to get home. Yeah. To use the word, it never clicked. There was banging on the windows and I was just shouting bye-bye. Luckily, someone told his dad that he had just waved Arsenal off, and 10 minutes later the coach returned. Arsenal was still stood where he had been left, as he hadn't yet processed what he was going to do. He said it seemed like a lifetime cracked around his head. Get on the bloody coach. So basically, he was waving everyone off, but he should have got on it. Arsenal used to play football every Sunday, and the kids from his estate had Sunday league children's side in the local league. His team was called Streetcroft. Imogen something rather named after the street. Named after the street he lived in. And they worked their way up the cup final. Verison. They lost 5-1 in the final, and Arsenal was in goal. The opposition had a young lad called Mick Quinn, not Mick Jagger, Mick Quinn. I added the Mick Jagger bit, by the way. Who eventually went on to play professionally at the top league. He scored all 5 goals. The medals were being given out by famous Liverpool players called David Fairclough. If you're a Liverpool fan, sorry. If you're not, I'm not sorry. Who was known at the time as Super Sub, as he inadvertently came off the bench and scored for Liverpool. Fairclough lived in something. I'm going to pause a minute. I am back. Lived on Cantrell Farm estate and won an obvious choice to be the guest of honour at a boys' cup final. After the game, the players received their medals and were getting snapped by their pictures taken, basically. But I was wondering why it's so janky some points. Like I said, I'm come down with a cold and I don't really want to be drinking Coke on camera because it ruins the flow. Arsenal remembers getting a medal and a handshake, but the thing he remembers most about the day was that he was on his own. No one had came to watch him play. No parent, no sibling. It was his only sporting achievement, and he had nobody to share it with and no photograph of the day to remember it by. As well as playing for Streetcroft, effectively an estate team, he played football at school all the time, although he never made into the school team. He played kickabout with his mates whenever he could. Although Arsenal says he never had any friends, he watched Arsenal Football Club whenever he could, either live or on telly. Much of the day being his highlights of the week. When he couldn't find anyone else to play with, he kicked the ball against the wall on his own. Even with all this football in his life, and let's not forget, from the age of 15, he held down 6 or 7 separate jobs to pay for his football trips. The highlight of his week was Saturday night, a kids and dads game down St Alden's School football pitch. Arsenal couldn't play every week, depending on his work commitments, but he managed to juggle his jobs around to be a regular Sunday afternoon player. He was Pat Jennings, the Arsenal goalkeeper in the 1977-78 season. Arsenal. This is an interview with Arsenal and Alan. Arsenal. Kids from our estate and dads and me dad every Sunday used to play a game, and every single Sunday I used to get sent off from me dad. He'd say, Arsenal, just go home. Every single week I just used to be so angry if we were losing, and we used to play next to the school. The games were always up to 20. First to 20 was the winner. They got to 19, the opposite team, and most weeks I would be in goal. For some reason, as soon as the 19th goal went in, I started to feel angry. So when I got the ball in my hand, I'd kick it on the school roof. Alan, well, they can't score the winner from there, can they? I cannot contain my laughter at this story. Arsenal, you're laughing now, but I used to get in so much trouble, and me dad would say, we're going to have to get up there now and get it, aren't we? I'm going to read the rest of this interview and end the video because my throat is feeling terrible. So, I'd scramble my way onto the main roof, get the ball and kick it down. Then I would have to try to get back down myself. I had to hang and drop down. Drop down, and Dad would say, go on, off you go. And I had to go home. Alan, but I guess you learned your lesson and only did it once. Arsenal, I used to do this every single time we were losing. As soon as they got the 19th goal, the ball would go back on the roof, but I never lost because I never saw the winner. I was straight home. On another time, I was in goal and we were getting stuffed. We must have been losing 18-6. This lad called Pip. He was running towards our goal, and in my head, all I'd seen was the ball, and all I have to get that ball. I must have been about 15/16, virtually an adult, and Pip, God bless him, he was about 9. Oh God, and he was running towards me. I've not read this, Future. Yeah, I've not read this, so this sounds like this is going to end well, doesn't it? Now, in my head, I saw him as an opposition. I had to get the ball. He was coming towards me, and I'm 100% certain whatever I do, I do, and my mum says that in the report I went out and hit him so hard I broke his leg in 2 places. I remember me dad getting a bit of a hiding on the pitch. And then you remember Benny Hill. I know Benny Hill. He was not too bad a comedian, Benny Hill. That's what it was like when everyone running after me. I could hear the music in my head as everyone chased me. At the time I was arguing like me case on the pitch, claiming I got the ball because I did get the ball, but Pip's lying on the ground, lying on the floor, screaming with his leg broken in 2 places, and all I can say is I got the ball. And then my dad pelted me again around my head and said, "You'd better go home, or better get home." Is that Alan, is that a symptom of autism? The fact that you had the ball, therefore it didn't matter that you broke Pip's leg? Arsenal, I got the ball, his leg didn't matter. It's called very of mind. And there's only like a page and a half. I'll just read the rest of the chapter. There are almost all of the stories. These are almost all of the stories and tales that Arsenal Whittock has to tell from the first 16 years of his life. Not many memories at all during this time. He was becoming the person he wanted to be, Arsenal Whittock, and erasing the person that was young Master Flynn totally from his mind. The story he tells refers who he wants to be and not who he was when he was born. His mind is blocking out the majority of his early childhood, plus all the years when he was non-verbal. caused by both his stutter and undiagnosed autism. His better memories, admittedly, as he was an older child, are from his footballing days and times with his family. His father, in recent emails I read, suggested that Arsenal was a very poor loser. But Arsenal talks about the anger and total disregard for either his own safety or that of others around him that made his autism a danger. The next chapter of Arsenal's life was just around the corner. He would leave home and get a flat and hold down his first full-time job upon leaving school. But before then, we are going to move forward in time to 2011. Arsenal was 49 and another life-changing event was about to happen. Someone was about to recognize that he may be on the spectrum. And what of Pip? There is an epilogue to the story. Arsenal. Pip was Pip had a permanent limp even to this day. It must have been 10/15 years ago, and me, mum and dad were on holiday in Spain, lying by the pool. Next minute there's a lad wandering over to him, and he's carrying one of his legs, funny like dragging it slightly. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Wittek. Hello, Pip, how are you? All right. And then a look of fear and puzzlement came on my face, and he asked, "You're not Arsenal Whittaker? You're not Arsenal, are you?" No, he's not with us. Thank fuck for that. And Pip turned around and limped away. Chapter 4 is called Diagnosis, 2011. And that is about it for this video. Chapter 4 will be in the next video, coming out in whenever I feel like reading it, really. I've not read this book myself from now on, so all of this is new to me, so you'll get my live reaction. But for now, thank you everyone for watching. As always, goodbye.